Hi, and welcome to Wisdom Wednesday, everyday wisdom from extraordinary people. I'm Alexis Pierce, and today I have with me Ann Perry. She's the CEO and founder of Business Heroine magazine. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Me too. So I've met you in person, and I'm so excited for other people to see you and get to know a little bit about you, because not only is Business Heroine an incredible magazine, but you do such great work with business owners and entrepreneurs. You help them get their ideas out of the sky and head that they're floating around in and into this world. Tell us more about your work.
Yeah, sure. And I just want to say I'm really excited to have this conversation with you in particular, because we both met as speakers at the Be Great conference. And, I was just the whole time you were talking, I was nodding and going, like, I feel like there's probably a lot, there is a lot of crossover in what we do. And we're from the same star or something, because we speak the same language. And you just said it there. It's like getting our inspired ideas out of our head and into the world. And I guess you could call that a form of manifesting. And, it's really quite simple. It's like so many entrepreneurs have this dream inside their heart, and, soul-fueled entrepreneurs, people who see business as a vehicle to create their change in the world, to create, to bring their gifts to the world in a way that makes a difference. And then to also be, self-expressed and fulfilled and create the lifestyle that they want at the same time. Like, to me, that's what it's all about. That's why I love entrepreneurship. There's just endless opportunity for creation. If there's something that you are particularly talented at or gifted at or inspired by, or, if it's your purpose, this is where the foundation of it all comes down to this work that you do around purpose. If you have a really important, powerful purpose, business is just the best. It's just an amazing vehicle to get it out into the world in a way that feels really good and just true to yourself. So that's what I help people do, is just to really, bring that dream to life and make it real, bring it into the physical world. Because I know that, one of the things that we can often struggle with as entrepreneurs, especially creative people who maybe don't even identify as entrepreneur, it's just that natural born creative person who has ideas. They can kind of get stuck in, swirling around in the mental realm. And it's like, sometimes we can feel like we're doing something, but it's not actually physically happening. And then we wonder, it's like, it's just sort of swirling around there. And then, a year goes by and it's like, I just really, really want this thing to exist. And so that's kind of that's the little sweet spot that I support people with.
Well, and I think that's so interesting about business owners, because like you said, so many of us are creative, but that means we have the skill of imagination and problem solving and analytical skills of connecting dots. That doesn't mean we have the skills of being task oriented or figuring out how to make things actually come into life. That's one of the things I work on with strategy, is that, we know how to take action, but we don't necessarily know how to attach actions that will achieve certain results to the actual results that we want.
Yes, exactly. And I love that you said the word imagination. Like, that is, it's amazing. Like, I kind of just got like a full body woo. Like, it's so magical. That's really what it, when we have the ability to imagine, it's like anything is possible. We just make it up. Like, anything we want to create, we make it up. And that's what's also fun about this type of this type of business, like the entrepreneurial side of business.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things I really like about you, and I wanted to actually be face-to-face with you for this, and for other people to see you face-to-face and hear you talk, is that if I was going to Google you or stumble across Business Heroine magazine, I'd look at this woman, Ann Perry, and go, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be like that. She's so successful. She's reached this level, but you are so grounded in who you are, and your business is this natural extension of you. And hearing you talk on stage in Seattle, you were so clear on like, hey, I went through all of this and this naturally flowed. It wasn't painless, but I learned all these lessons along the way, and now I'm in alignment. And I think it's really important for people to know people like you who did have nothing and who really struggled and who had, 2 jobs at the same time and they both paid miserably. Like, that sort of story is empowering.
Yeah, 3 jobs. But yeah. Thank you for saying that. That makes me blush a little bit. I don't always see myself out there in the world like that. And I feel like the danger in that is, you know, everybody is just, everybody is so capable and so worthy of all things. And we tend to, it's like that comparison game, you know, and I fall for that all the time still. It's like, no matter, you know, I sometimes have to stop and pause and go, if I could look at my life now 10 years ago, I wouldn't recognize it. I wouldn't recognize myself or my situation, and I'd be astonished. And at the same time, it's like wherever you go, there you are. And so I think that's really where this piece about alignment that you mentioned comes in. And I'm still in the process of that. It's kind of like, you know, the more where I'm at with it is, it's like we can create this sort of external success, and yet what really flows and what really feels good is what's just natural, like what is really truly just who we are, like our beingness is our magic, you know? And so I don't know, kind of circling back to what you said about the how and how do we do it and all that, like those things actually fall in place, I feel, when you are really truly aligned with every aspect of your business, with your purpose for sure, but then even with the things like how you market and how you know, all of that stuff that tends to scare the crap out of a lot of entrepreneurs, and definitely scared the crap out of me for a long time. It's like, you know, when we can find ways to do that to where it feels natural and good inside, then we tap into that flow, and then we tap into that. And then it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing out there. And it's like, you know, success is like waking up and being like, yes, I get to do what I love. I get to make a difference, and and enjoy what I've created for myself. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to share a story I actually haven't told you. So this may surprise you. I haven't told you about you and meeting you. I'm in my head a lot. Like, I'm an overthinker. Yesterday I was at the gym and my running coach went, I think you're thinking too hard. And I went, yeah, you're kidding. Right. Of course I'm thinking too hard. I always overthink everything. And I'd heard about this concept of ease, and I talk about alignment a lot, and I talk about embodiment a lot. But I talk about them and I'm attracted to them because it's something that I haven't mastered, right? It's something I'm bringing into my life over and over. I can feel the need for it. So I knew that this idea existed out there, that there was a way to be easeful in yourself and have that ease sort of flow out into the rest of your life. And I've seen that in a negative sense, just to put a label on it, in the sense that I get really stressed and I break out. It's like, okay, great. My inside is stressed. My outside reflects that stress. So in theory, the same must be true for my relationships, for my business, for my financial situation. All of it must be a repercussion of something that's going on inside me. At least that's the way I'm looking at it right now, because it's empowering for me to think about. But I'd heard this concept. I believe in this concept, and I'd heard that it was possible to be easeful in business. But I've also been in this realm of online business where there's a lot of comparing and I don't know what we call it, but people going, oh, do this and do this. And there's a level of aggression that's very uncomfortable for me. And when I met you, I actually hadn't even met you yet. I was sitting catty corner to you at a table, and I felt this ease, and you were so easeful in yourself. And, you know, you go to conferences and you see the superstars at the conference who are really what you think are far above you, and they all join together and they're like in a little superstar clique. You were so easeful with everyone, and you talked to everybody as if it was anybody. I mean, it was just, it was such a beautiful expression of something that you found inside that now aligns with how you move through the world, and that success is just as easily coming to you as everything else. And it was really, like, I know I haven't shared that, but you really embodied this message of alignment in your life and business.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that story with me. That that means a lot. That's really cool to hear that reflection. And, you know, I'm also drawn to this concept of alignment and ease because it's something I'm working on mastering myself. And, you know, I have not shared this story with you, but just in my past, like one of the businesses that I built, the first business that I built that actually supported me. My very first business that I built, you did hear about, which is when I started an energy healing practice. That was my very first business. Unless you count like building a circus in my backyard with my brother a business, we made a few quarters and yeah. But yeah, so my first real business was an energy healing practice. And that one, I went bankrupt. Like I didn't know what I was doing. That's what I shared at Be Great. Maybe I didn't mention it was.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
yeah, I ended up going bankrupt, and I just didn't know what I didn't know. And, you know, I'm actually kind of proud that I even got any clients, because I really knew nothing about anything. I was just like, I'm just going to do this, and I'll get an office and it'll be fun. But anyway, the first business that I built that actually sustained me, where it was like, I am a business owner and I have this business, was like a boutique internet marketing firm, I guess you could call it. I did a lot of like article marketing and SEO and social media and all the stuff I was learning and hungry for, because I was drawn to having a business like that for myself. And I started doing it for other people. And I just got so burnt out. I basically, I mean, first of all, I built a business around writing, and I'm good at writing, but that's not like easeful. Like it's like kind of like a labor of love. It's like, you know, after I write something, then I'm like, oh, let me swaddle my little baby and hold it for a while, read it 3 times, because that took effort. Like not always, but sometimes. Anyway, so I built a whole business around something that I was good at, but not something that was just as natural as breathing. You know, like that's what I'm on a campaign for, is like, business can be as natural as breathing. Like, why not? Like, why can't we design every element of our life to be so aligned with who we are that it feels like just showing up, you know? So that is not what that business was like. And I got so burnt out, and it was like something, you know, writing an article used to take me a couple hours. Now it was taking 4 hours, because I was just, you know, it's like I was just dragging and the words were not coming, and I was like, so it was taking longer, and I was working like 14-hour days. If I had an 8-hour day, I was considering it a half day, like on a Sunday. You know, it was insane. It was ridiculous. And finally my body crapped out, and I, you know, got sick, and not a big surprise there. But, you know, that's just an example of not being in alignment, and on some level feeling that I have to do what I have to do, or what I should do, or what felt like, you know, I actually built that whole business feeling like it was a stepping stone to what I really wanted. You know, what I really love to do is get creative around the whole business and put the shape and form to it and put it into play, like essentially business coaching. But I didn't really think of it that way at the time. Or designing my own business. So I was doing what I felt was a stepping stone to get there, but really, when I look at it now, it's like, that was just a different business. Like, I built just a different business. I didn't build a stepping stone toward what I wanted. I just went in a different direction, because part of me believed that I couldn't actually have what I really wanted. Yeah. Like, if I really, really want that, like, it must be harder, you know, like there's this weird thing, the thing that we really, really want, that seems impossible. Whereas like something we can do and we don't really enjoy it, it feels like that must be more accessible, or I don't know. I'm sort of in the inquiry about it, but, it's just strange. And what's really the truth is what you're most inspired by is what's most natural, and is actually where the ease is. Like, definitely more courage, definitely more like putting your heart out there, like that stuff. Anyway, so we're on the path to finding alignment together.
I really appreciate you sharing that, especially with the people listening, because when it comes to something like purpose, we feel like, oh my gosh, it only has one expression, and once I find it, I'm going to be stuck in it. And so I kind of want to find it, but I kind of don't want to find it, because what if I don't really like that? And I think one of the confusing things about purpose is that it doesn't have to have one expression. We could be living it all the time. I think we are living it all the time, actually. But even if you don't think that, you can still change how you implement your purpose. You can change how you show up in the world. And one of the things that I'm working on sharing as my bigger message, and you brought it up so brilliantly, is that in every moment we have this choice of being in what I call allegiance, or being in betrayal of the self. And allegiance looks like alignment, but betrayal can look like alignment too, because even though I might say, look, so say I'm a healthy person, I don't have dairy, wheat, or sugar. But one day I decide I really want that cupcake. And I want that cupcake because I'm sitting at my niece's birthday party, and I've traveled 500 miles to be there, and I want to fit in, and I want to have time with my family and remember those glorious times when I was a child where we just had summer parties. Like, I want that cupcake. And so, yes, I've betrayed that part of me who is now this woman who believes in health and wants to feel good, but I didn't betray that one part of me that really wanted to bond and have that memory and that warmth come back in and all of those feelings. So it is a question of allegiance in the moment. And I can betray myself 100 times a day, but I can also be in alignment and allegiance 100 times a day. It's just that I'm shifting through all these different aspects of me. And so I really love your story and the story that you're continuing to create, where you're willing to change the focus. You're willing to say, okay, I'm not 100% in allegiance, or look, my allegiance just shifted because it deepened. Here I was being in allegiance to a story I thought I had to follow. I thought that this is how I had to do it. I thought that this was the only way to do it. But then all of a sudden, I sunk deeper and I realized, oh, there's another level here of allegiance. And now I can shift my life to be in alignment with that deeper allegiance. And so
that's brilliant. I love that. I mean, really what it is an honoring of yourself and a listening to yourself, and not being attached to this rigid idea of perfect or right, wrong, or whatever, true, false. Yeah, that's beautiful.
So when you're working with, not to put you on the spot here, but when you're working with people who are just starting out, they're emerging entrepreneurs, and they are really struggling in that headspace, I know for me, it was next to impossible to get beyond the voice of what I thought I had to do, to hear what I wanted to do. Is there anything that you found really useful in your experience?
I might answer it a different way than you're asking.
Okay. Go with it.
What's coming to mind is, it's always easy. It's harder to see the picture when you're in the frame, right? Like doing that myself, I'm going to have to reflect on that a little bit more. Doing it for other people, it's like, that's, it's helpful to have somebody hold that space for you. Maybe that would be the advice. Like, I'll just give you an example. Is I have a new client who came to me like really not knowing what she wanted her business to be. And she knew she wanted to have a business, and she knew, so she was starting peaks and thought maybe I'll have some kind of eBay store or Etsy store selling stuff. But I could just feel kind of like do this, because that was just sort of what, she had thought. But then, so I could immediately tell, like, that's just not truth. Like, that's not truth for her. It's not aligned, however you want to say that. And so I just started asking her questions like, well, tell me about a career that you loved. Like, and she kind of had mentioned that, like, I used to love my old job, but she had to leave because of circumstances. And it was like, I used to love that. And so I was just asking, what did you love? Extracting what is really there under the surface. And what came through was this business that she is so lit up about, something I never even knew existed, but it's like, I almost don't know how to explain it. It's basically kind of like being the person who coordinates like printing on bags that, like if you buy soil from Home Depot, it's like printed in a bag. And then like that whole process going from the manufacturer of the dirt or whatever, the person who creates the soil, and then the branding, and then the packaging, and then getting it to the stores is apparently really complex, and there's so much chaos going on and things slip between the cracks. And what she loved in a career was being the person to make that just run so smoothly. Like, she loved being the person who got things done. And it's like, oh my God, there's this whole gap in this whole industry that I didn't even know really existed. And she's like, it lights her up so much. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I think it's just having the space for that, and having somebody hold that space for you to just really inquire, because it was like, it almost was what it was right under her nose. Like, she had even done that before. She's inventing it in a little bit of a new way, but it was like, sometimes those things that are right under our nose, like it's because it's so natural. It's like breathing. Like, we just think that way. We think that way so much that we think it's common sense, but it's not common sense. It's your sense. It's your very unique sense. And so it's like those things, that's where the magic is. Like, if you can design your business around that, like that's when it becomes as easy as just showing up. It's like, oh my God, this is just what I do. This is just how I am. And by the way, it makes a really big difference for other people, and it's easy, and it's actually excellence versus mediocrity because it's so natural. It's like, I don't know. I just get excited about this. I'm talking really loud and fast right now.
No, I love it, because I think it's really important to highlight how important coaches are, but you're highlighting something even more important, which is that there are lots of people out there who can show you how to be certain types of things. But what you're saying is there's a whole world of people also who are open to allowing you to be you, and who have the skill set to reflect back to you in a more organized manner what you're presenting to them, but without putting it through the lens of you have to be a business coach or you have to be this. You know, they're not seeing it through I'm the horse blinders. You know, they're not so honed in on just being an IT professional or just being this, but that really finding somebody like you who can receive everything you're saying and help you put it together. Because what I notice with my clients is they tell me exactly what their life purpose is. And then I say it back and they go, how did you do that? And I was like, listen to the recording. You told it to me. You just can't hear it. Cause like you say, when you're in the frame, you can't. So I love that. I love that idea of, you know, there's a huge value to bringing somebody into your life who's not biased and who really just wants to pull out the most effortless, beautiful thing within you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so well said. So well said. And, you know, when I reflect back on my own experience too, I mean, whether you hire a coach or you don't, just like look at, just give it that space. Because when I looked at, you know, you asked me how I found mine, and it's like, it was always there and it did change shape or form. And I went to this course that was all about finding your purpose. And I came out with this statement that was something along the lines of, I illuminate possibilities for people that allow them to create their dream life. And I was like, that's cool, but it just almost felt like I didn't like think that was it because it felt so simple. And then I went back to the same course the next year, and what popped out was like the exact same thing. And that's when I got my aha, was like, oh, maybe that's because that's it. Maybe that's why it feels so simple and so obvious, is that's just, I can't help it. That's who I am. So it's like, you know, finding that where it's just, you can't help but be that way. And the other thing I want to point out is what you were alluding to is like, there are so many possibilities that we just may not see how to turn our unique thing into a business right away. And especially with all of the online marketing stuff that is just everywhere. Like, here's the formula for how to build your online business, or here's the coaching model, or it's the coaching model and the online model are like so formalized, right? That it just doesn't fit all people. Like, there's a lot to be taken from that. And for some people it fits like a glove. But I just talk to people all the time who are like, I just don't like, when I feel about being a coach, it feels heavy. And it's like, it's not, but they're following that path because it's like close. It's close. It's just not it. And it's like some tiny little tweaks. It's often the tiny little tweaks. And all of a sudden this whole other world opens up, and it's like, oh my God, I could do that. Oh my God. And that could be my business. Like, that's amazing. And, you know, and it's not following some formula. It's like that. I mean, back to our theme of the day, alignment, really, right?
I was just thinking, you know, I think one of the powerful things about being around you, being in your presence, talking to you, what people are getting from this call, like listening to this, it's that you can offer that space because you're doing that work with yourself. Like, you're gifting that space to yourself so you can gift the space to others. And you're gifting that self-reflection and tweaking and finding the right thing to yourself so you can help others with it. Instead of morphing and molding and pushing yourself from the outside, you know, in to fit into something, you're allowing that inside to unfurl and see where it takes you.
I am. Yeah. Thank you for seeing that. That's cool to just even hear you reflect that to me. 'Cause like, oh yeah, I guess I am. Thank you. I'm getting like a session. I'm getting a coaching session here from Alexa. I love it.
I love it. Well, I'm sure if you're listening, you're already completely enthralled with Ann Perry. I'm sure. Head over to Business Heroine magazine and check her out. Check out the magazine. You can get a subscription for free. It's phenomenal. And the link will be included, of course, in the bio. Read her bio. She's amazing. And find her on Facebook and social media and stalk her like I do, because she's so delightful to be around. And you took new images too. I love your new images.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Playful. That was fun. That was fun.
So playful. And you'll see, so for those of you listening, when you go and you see Anne's images, you see the way she's showing up online. It's so embodied is the word that comes to mind, but it's playful. It's you expressed visually, and it's beautiful. It's so lovely to have a model for that. So thank you for being that in the world, and for giving those of us who really want to be in alignment with our businesses and create businesses that are easeful and effortless in some ways, on a soul level at least, that we have we have wisdom to learn from you. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that. And thank you for the work you do, which again, we're from the same star. It's all connected. And yeah, thank you for having me and for everything that you do.
Thank you. I will take that compliment. Thank you.